This is Mindfulness with Richard. I'm Richard Clarke. Welcome. This series focuses on mindfulness meditation. Listen, reflect, and deeply meditate. Today, I want to talk about everyday Zen. First, a dialogue between two Chinese Buddhists more than 1,000 years ago. Joshu asked Nansen, "What is the path?" Nansen said, "Everyday life is the path." This means that enlightenment can be found in the ordinary, everyday experiences of life, and not just in some special, rare, or extraordinary experiences. One doesn't need to withdraw from the world or seek some special state of mind, but rather to pay attention to the present moment and to be fully engaged in the activities of daily life. It's a reminder to not overlook the preciousness of this very moment and to find the path of enlightenment in the seemingly mundane aspects of life. The idea is that one should be fully present and aware in each moment rather than seeking enlightenment or understanding from something or someone else. Real spiritual practice is the honesty and reality of each of our lives and finding out how to bring the truth out right here in this moment instead of feeling like we have to go somewhere else and conform our lives to some pre-existing standard. Everyday Zen doesn't have a temple you're supposed to go to. The temple is your life, your relationships, your work, your mind and heart. That's the temple. And you are always practicing here in this temple. In her book, Everyday Zen, author Stephanie Russell states, Zen mind sees daily life as the main vehicle for higher awareness. You are practicing being present, attentive, deliberate, mindful, and conscious all the time. When you start a meditation practice, mindfulness is something done at this special time and place. But something happens after a while. The line separating your meditation and your life starts to blur. After all, mindfulness is just paying attention without judgment. And you can do this at any time. As you continue to practice, you'll find it becomes easier to be present and aware in the moment. And you're better able to bring this sense of mindfulness to your daily activities. The practice of noticing without judgment can help you approach your experiences with a greater sense of clarity and balance, and can help you let go of resistance and attachment. This can help the inner peace and calm that you experience during meditation to spread into your daily life. The practice of noticing without judgment or non-judgmental awareness is an important aspect of mindfulness. It can be challenging to let go of our habits of evaluating and judging our experiences, but when we're able to do so, it brings a sense of freedom and relaxation. Allowing ourselves to simply observe our experiences without reacting or getting caught up in judgment can help us let go of resistance and attachment. It can also help us to become more accepting and compassionate towards ourselves and others. When we're able to notice and let go of our thoughts and emotions rather than getting caught up in them, it can bring a sense of peace and ease to our minds. This helps us feel calmer and more centered and approach our experiences with a greater sense of clarity and balance. Here are some ways to go about this. Plan your day intentionally. This can help you be more mindful and present in each moment rather than being rushed or scattered. Do routine things mindfully. Things you do every day are an opportunity for mindfulness. Brush your teeth, wash dishes, take a shower, stand in line. All are opportunities for mindfulness. Pause your mind after cognitively challenging activities. This can help to reduce stress and promote relaxation. Learn how to focus on one thing at a time. This also reduces stress and can improve productivity. Create space in between activities. Give yourself time to rest and recharge, and this helps you to be more present and mindful in each activity. Create rituals of stillness in your day. Stillness, like meditation or mindful practices, can help you cultivate inner peace and clarity. And find little slices of happiness, whether through small pleasures or acts of kindness. Do it any way you can. You can also recognize successes you have had during the day and give yourself the credit for that. All of these things can help bring joy and balance into your life. So now, how was your meditation last week, Richard?
Pretty steady. To what you're reading, it brings to mind how sometimes we might be in a store or something and asking for where something is, and somebody's not kind in their response to us, and then we let let that start to go in us, and we start to get upset until we can clearly see that it is our own thoughts reacting to that are causing it. Nothing
Mhm.
outside could make that happen. We make these things happen ourselves.
Mhm.
So the more we meditate, the more slowly we go, the more clarity and finding it in daily life, like you just read.
Yes. Yes, I read those lines very early in my practice in my early 20s. And again, I have loved them for a long time. What is the path? Everyday life is the path.
That's it. Mm-hmm.
You
But
just,
along those lines, I've been at places where I hear expats criticizing people behind the counter, and that makes me. So I don't know. I don't want to not say something. It is upsetting,
but still, how you react and how you interact with the other people is
well,
still up to you.
yeah. And I can
And
do it tactfully.
or,
So
again, you can still look at it as how can you find your own inner peace in the middle of that situation?
Mhm, mhm,
You
Yeah,
know,
then your peace would radiate to the whole situation.
mhm.
right. That's right, Richard.
I guess one has to think before they speak then, huh? Get in the right
Well,
place.
just I don't know about thinking, but just taking a moment and being in the present moment with yourself mindfully. Again, one of the things that has been key in my own spiritual practice for a long time is the idea of how can I be happy? And what I've noticed with that idea is most of the stuff that makes me not happy is stuff I do myself. And so if I want to be happy, then don't do that stuff. So anyway, it's you have a choice, and the question might be what actually is going to bring you the most happiness and peace.
Okay.
It still can be difficult because we have these reactions. And one of the things we want to do with mindfulness is before we react, notice it. Just stop and notice it non-judgmentally towards them and towards yourself for having the reaction. Both sides of that are what we want. And then after that, do what is natural. And I would say, look for where the happiness is.
Mhm.
But then, of course, I'm a troublemaker in my own way, suggesting things like that. Hello there, Carol.
Hello.
How's your meditation been?
You didn't ask Barley.
Oh, my meditation. Oh, I love
I
it when
thought I did.
No, I stepped in and was responding to Richard's comment, so
Yes, anyway, go ahead. I'm sorry.
that's okay. I keep watching the one about impermanence
Yes,
and joy and equanimity. I love that one. I keep watching that one.
wonderful.
And it's, that's one of my best ways to meditate is to watch one of our old
Mm-hmm,
videos.
mm-hmm. certainly one of the things I did for many years is we went to this teacher Nomi every week, and we would buy, they would record the sessions and put them out on CDs. And I collected many years of those CDs and then would strip out his talk. And in the early days of MP3 players, remember them? Carol and I both had MP3 players with all these hundreds of talks on them. And before we would meditate, we would listen to these talks again and again and again. Some of them I must have listened to 100 times, and they're still fresh. So anyway, I have used myself the same thing that you're talking about, and felt like it really helped deepen my meditation. Okay, Carol.
Not much to report. We've been doing the afternoon meditation. Sometimes it's quieter than others. It's always good to sit and be quiet. So that's all I got.
Okay. Hello there, Doug.
Hello.
How has your meditation been?
It's been pretty good. I'd like to like read something or listen to to one of the videos before meditating also. I find that really helps. I've been reading this book by Ramana,
Yes,
Who Am I? And what I've been doing is after each chapter is meditating.
very good.
And it's been good. It's been going well.
Very good. And Doug, I would suggest that you listen to the talk in this session. When I send you the video, I think it would be something you're interested in. It's Every Minute Zen, and I think that's something that you're kind of up to in your own life now.
Okay. Well, I always listen to them,
Good.
but I will definitely do this one also.
Okay. Very good. Very good. Anyway, so now let us do some meditation. How does that sound? Mindfulness is present moment awareness, paying attention in the present moment, non-judgmentally, fully receive whatever is experienced, and then let it go. Now relax. Look for joy in the moment. Let experiences and thoughts come. Let them be. Let them go. Become present. Focus on body sensations, breathing sensations, and then the breath. All right. And now we have a video, how to practice Zen in daily life.
Zen is a form of Buddhism. In the West, Buddhism is often ascribed to two main schools. Mahayana, literally the Great Vehicle, which Zen is a part of and is prominent in East Asia, therefore also referred to as Eastern Buddhism, alongside Theravada, literally the teaching of the elders, prominent in Southeast Asia. Some scholars also include Vajrayana, a kind of esoteric Buddhism, as a third school, practiced in the northern Himalayan region among other places. Zen originated in China, when Buddhism spread from India to China and was strongly influenced by Taoist philosophy. It then spread all over Asia, in countries such as Vietnam, Korea, and Japan. Today it is practiced all around the world. Zen literally means meditation. Zazen, or seated meditation, is the primary practice of the Zen Buddhist tradition. It is a means of insight into the nature of existence, that is, the nature of the mind and of things. This insight is expressed personally in daily life, especially for the benefit of others. Unlike religion, Zen does not mention God. It does not try to explain how the world was created and what happens after death. A Zen koan is a paradoxical anecdote or riddle without a solution, used to create doubt and demonstrate the inadequacy of logical reasoning, to test a student's progress in Zen. A famous one is, if you meet the Buddha, kill him. What we can make out of this is perhaps that we have to kill our ideas, whether it be God, becoming rich, to end suffering. We have to break open from our conceptual framework that keeps us trapped from our creations, and be open to what actually is. What we are all searching for is right inside of us, not in the sky or somewhere else. Buddhism has at its base these things called sutras, which are the teachings of the Buddha. Although Zen uses them, it really emphasizes much more one's own experience, which is the way to discover the truth of the Buddhist teaching. Not through intellectual understanding and study, but through one's actual experience. As such, it is less of a theoretical philosophy and more of a way of life and personal spiritual practice. Zen highlights meditation as a way of experiencing basic reality, sitting quietly, going deep, and asking the question, what am I? That is the fundamental question in Zen. It begins with the curiosity and wonder of who you are. If we take a look at our modern society, people can seem quite inauthentic. A lot of posturing or creating personas, concealing our true self, and presenting ourselves as someone different to who we really are, in order to impress other people. This forms a shadow, as psychoanalyst Carl Jung puts it, where all of our repressed emotions and negative traits are stored. We then behave like a passive victim of our shadow, which slowly takes control of our personality and of our actions. Zen tells us to stop for a moment, to think about what we are doing with our life, to begin to wonder, who are you? What are you really? Not what your parents wanted you to be, not what society wants you to be, but what is the truth? Who are you really? And what kind of life makes sense for you? Not what people tell you to do, but for you, what is your truth? Simple meditation allows us to go deeper into our reality and see things more clearly. Most of us, if not all of us, are bound to our conceptual thinking. We get stuck in the commentary of things. We ruminate, we overthink. There's an ongoing mental chatter going on. As the Taoists would say, empty yourself of everything. Let the mind become still. While meditating, we see a lot of things, a lot of commentary and opinions, or we can also feel a sense of peace and calm. There is the feeling of this calmness, and then there's the commentary of the feeling of this calmness. Two very separate things. Zen tries to bring us into the experience itself. What are you thinking? What do you see? What do you hear? What do you smell? What do you taste? By asking these questions, we get closer to the experience, closer to our true experience. When we meditate, we tend to drift away from this and get lost in the commentary, the problems you have had at work, what you have to do next. We live our life thinking of the future, of of what we think is to come, and the past, what has already happened. In Zen you might hear shouts and hits. This is not some sort of torture. The point of this is to come back to this moment. It is incredibly easy to drift away to our thoughts. Zen orients us to come back in order to search for the fundamental question, what am I? Have a clear mind. The way we can return to this moment is to say, I don't know. It means to let go of uncertainty. We are so afraid of not knowing that we construct fantasies of what things are, so we can feel comfort in our knowing. Zen teaches us to get some comfort in not knowing. If you can feel comfortable enough in not knowing, then you have the stability to be present with some curiosity and wonder. We all have problems. We all struggle in our lives. That's the human condition. Our desire is to solve our problems so that we can be happier. The problem is that we are stuck in our own conceptual thinking. It may happen that the more we try to solve a problem, the worse it gets. Or that when we do solve a problem, another problem pops up. In Zen we expand our thinking, and if we listen closely, the answer is right there. But if we are stuck in our ideas and belief system, we often can't find it. Be present and see what is happening. Not your fantasy about what is happening, but seeing what's actually happening and then responding. That in a nutshell is Zen practice and Zen life. To be present, to hear what's being spoken, and to hear it clearly. Our life is built around making assumptions, but oftentimes when you talk to someone, you aren't talking about the same thing. What you meant about something is not what the other person is thinking you meant. In many ways, that's what we do with our lives. We make assumptions. Our consciousness is built in such a way to make assumptions. We're making approximations all the time. One of the most important practices is to learn when you're making wrong assumptions, without getting defensive, but rather acknowledging it. Then you can start to listen more closely, to be in the moment and find out what's actually going on. The simple practice of sitting down, closing your eyes, breathing slowly in, what am I? Breathing slowly out, don't know, trains us to be present. Zen meditation brings our attention to our lower abdomen. It is diaphragmatic breathing. In the inhalation your belly expands out, and on the exhalation it falls. To study Buddhism is to study yourself. To study yourself is to forget yourself. The point of Zen is not to master Buddhist teachings, but to realize who you really are. And in order to realize this, you must let go of yourself. Zen teaches us that to let go of ourselves, we need to realize that the self and the external world are not two different realms, but rather one. The evaporation of this separation allows a natural state of compassion and wisdom in which our life flows through. So be immersed in this moment, not in the future and not in the past. Be aware and alive right now.
Oops, sorry. Let me get back to the slides. Now we will meditate again. And during this meditation, just pay particular attention to that moment in between the breaths, at the end of the out breath and at the end of the in breath. All right. And we'll close with a chant. Om Shanti, Shanti,
Shanti,
Shanti. Om. Peace, peace,
peace,
peace.
peace.
Now, comments or discussion of stuff you heard today or from your meditation.
The video, I like that video on Zen. I'm often confused about different types of the meditation, uh, the the Buddhist and the Hindu and that. So it was I liked that video.
Okay, good. What they're all trying to do in the meditation is get where your mind is quiet. So that in all of them is the kind of what you want to achieve from the meditation. And in many of them, that deep inner quiet is then kind of a jumping off point to kind of even deeper experience. When the mind gets really quiet, after a while the mind just stops, and when that happens, then it's funny, without the mind you start to know yourself much deeper.
Is that like why they say, who am I? And then you say, I don't know. And then your mind goes blank. Is
Yes.
that what
Yes, what happens when you go, who am I? If you do it really seriously, you go through, your mind looks at all the different things that you think you are, and you see that you're more than all of that, and you finally go, who am I, where you're not looking at all of that, and what you come up to is a blankness, an emptiness. The Buddhists call it the void, and that's as far as the mind can go. And then you kind of hang out in the void, is one way to say it, or ask yourself, who knows the void? And then you get into a deeper level of experience, and it's experiential knowledge instead of cognitive knowledge. And that's what all of these things are pointing to.
interesting? I get it. I almost didn't get it. And then I thought maybe I did.
That's right. Well, you did. And, if it turns out, if whatever it is that you can think with your mind isn't it. So it's one of the paradoxes of the whole thing. And the purpose of these Zen koans, like the famous one hand, is to give you a question that you can't answer cognitively. So what do you do then? And so that's really the whole point of the practice. And to me, this video on Zen was interesting. I wish I'd have seen it 50 years ago, because I was kind of studying Zen and Zen adjacent teachings, the Chinese stuff, before it got to Zen and turned into Zen. And if I'd have known what I was doing then, it might have been better.
I always, there's this story about the master and the disciple. And the master asked the disciple, "Do you understand Zen?" And the disciple, kind of in a frightened way, and it responds, "No, I don't." He says, "Good, neither do I."
Yeah. Because that's too cognitive. Huh?
Right, right. And so they speak about Zen as paradoxical, and I think that's kind of what they mean. And, you know, that still is the things that we in this mindfulness practice start to open up. And I think for me, it's important to know the direction of practice, because it helps me with my own orientation, and it helps me kind of understand what's going on within myself. You know, because this direction of practice is not something somebody kind of just made up. It's something that came from the careful observations of people over thousands of years, and, you know, what they told other people to do. You know, so it's deeply observational and about knowledge of yourself. And then with that knowledge of yourself, it's easier to know what is true about other people in the world. You know, whatever you think of them is first based on your ideas of yourself. And you're going to see them in some way that reflects your ideas of yourself. So if you want to see them differently, the quickest way to do it is to see yourself differently.
Like Gandhi said, you have to be the change you want to see.
Yes.
Michael Jackson said something like that too.
Well, it gets around.
If you want to make the change, look in the mirror, and that's no, what I don't remember the lines now.
Now, one of the in India, there are all these altars, and with different gods on them and things like this. My favorite one of all was in some cave that some sadhu used for his own meditation, and what he had on his altar was a mirror.
Ah.
Anyway, thank you all for
Bye, everybody.
joining today. And this has been Richard Clarke with Mindfulness Meditation. Thank you for joining me today. If you felt this is worthwhile, then please give this video a thumbs up or subscribe. Namaste.
Namaste.
Namaste.